To replace the side brush motor on Bob Pro, you'll need a new side brush motor and a Phillips head screwdriver. Ensure you have the correct side brush motor for your repair. Bob's left motor will not fit on his right side. Each motor is labeled L for left or R for right. Power off Bob before starting your repair. Press the bumper in while holding down the cover button. After 5 seconds, Bob will beep, and the cover light will turn off when released. Next, remove the dustbin. Grasp the tab on the back of Bob and slide the dustbin out. Then, flip Bob upside down so the wheels are facing up. Remove the screw on the side brush connected to the motor you're replacing. Then, lift the brush up to detach. Remove the 6 large screws from the underside of Bob. Keep all screws and parts removed from Bob safely aside for later reassembly. Next, remove the 2 small screws that hold Bob's side casing. Pull to detach each piece, using a flathead screwdriver for leverage if necessary. Carefully flip Bob onto his wheels and lift the cover to expose the main board. Disconnect the circuit plug connecting the cover to the main board. Next, disconnect all of the main board's circuit plugs. You'll be reattaching the plugs later, so take note of all the connections. Grip each plug and pull to remove, without placing stress on the wiring. When done, remove the 4 screws holding the main board. Then, lift the main board out. The wall track sensor connects to the left edge of the main board. Remove the screw securing the sensor. Carefully feed the wiring out from the hook inside Bob. Then lift to remove and set aside. Next, remove the 2 large screws securing the bumper. Then, lift the bumper off Bob. Now you can remove the 4 smaller screws securing the internal support frame. Feed the wiring out from the hooks on Bob's left and right sides. And lift the support frame out. There are 3 screws securing each side brush motor onto Bob. Remove them from the motor you're replacing. Then lift it up and out. Place your new motor in line with the screw posts inside Bob, and push down until it's flush with the bottom casing. Reinstall the 3 screws previously removed. Then replace Bob's internal support frame. Align it with Bob and clear the area of any wires that could be in the way. Push down and the support frame will snap into place when aligned correctly. Make sure the docking sensor is attached to the center of the support frame. Then install the 4 small screws that hold it on Bob. Ensure the detachable pieces are placed in the appropriate spots on the bumper. They're labeled L for left and R for right. Then line up the bumper with Bob. Reinstall the 2 large screws. Replace the wall track sensor and install the screw securing it. Next, align the main board with the screw posts on bob and replace all 4 screws. Then, reconnect all the circuit plugs to the main board. The order of the plugs on the left edge, from top to bottom, is as follows. Tuck the wires for the 2 lower circuit plugs under the hook inside bob. The order of the plugs along the top edge from bob's left to right is as follows. Take note of the colors of each wire to ensure you replace all of the circuit plugs correctly. The order along the right edge of the main board from top to bottom is as follows. Remember to tuck the wires for the 2 lower circuit plugs under the hook inside bob. The order along the bottom edge from bob's left to right is as follows. Take note of the empty spaces in the main board. When all of the circuit plugs are securely connected, you're ready to close bob. Reconnect the cover's circuit plug to the main board. Lay the cover down so it's slightly below the bumper's top edge. The bumper should move when pressed in. Flip bob upside down. Next, install all 6 large screws on bob's underside. Align the side casing pieces with the screw holes on bob's underside. Then, flip bob onto his wheels and snap the pieces onto bob's sides. Next, install the 2 small screws removed previously. Remember to replace the side brushes and install the screws holding them onto bob. Then, flip bob onto his wheels and slide the dustbin back in place. Press and hold the cover button for 3 seconds to turn bob back on. And congratulations! You've just replaced Bob Pro's side brush motor. Happy sweeping!